Alrighty.
Oh, another Thursday ads. How quickly they come.
I know.
What are we at? Third, I think it's our third live session, maybe third or fourth. I can't quite remember. They go so quick. Time flies when you're having fun ads.
Yeah.
And what a lot of fun we've had as of late. As I hope everybody else watching this has. We've said a few times, don't get disheveled if you miss these these moves. Just excuse ads, because there's always another opportunity to trade. When things like this happen, when people miss aggressive short opportunities like we had around the 17th or 18th of Jan, and then these runs up that we've had as of late, you've really got to stay out of your head. I used to make a really bad habit of that. When I would miss significant moves, I would really get down on myself, and it would ultimately affect my future trades, or my very near future trades, because I was too inside my head about losing, and I was sort of revenge trading. That's a huge thing not to do. So if you've missed these moves, don't worry about it. We're going to show you what we're looking at. And if you are making these moves, congratulations, you're making some sats and you're doing all the right things. So let's get straight into it. Ads, what are we seeing on BTC?
Well, with BTC, we've had a lot of good bullish activity, Ty. If we zoom back out on the daily, a couple, what was it? Was it around here, the 11th, maybe 2 weeks ago, where we had that big move out of the itchy cloud, and we had the lag line come through with our basic inversion line pointing upwards also. So we were pretty excited at that time. We did have our pullback to the demand at 81.80 or 81.75, something like that, where we bounced off that mid-range demand and looking at that cloud for support as well. And then sorry Ty, and then the next target was obviously the supply above, and that's where we're at now at the 9.3 mark.
Yeah, and we've been following this pretty closely, like looking at not only our macro supply and demand, but sort of our I guess our intra supply and demands that we've been talking about as well. And as each of them sort of gets eaten up and toast, we just simply seem to be consolidating and going up to the next one. And we're kind of at the same point again now, where I think we were talking about this with. I think it might have been Crypto Says a couple of weeks ago, which we're going to put on the Trade Hacker podcast in the next couple of weeks. We've got some incredible guests coming up. Another one I'm talking to tomorrow morning and Saturday. I'm super excited to share with you. But as Crypto Says said, diagonal lines are very subjective. I think a lot of people draw them to confirm their own bias. So I posted something a little bit different to what some of our members and what ads had posted today as well. But overall, the formations are very much the same. So, we're looking at a flag formation here potentially. I am sort of seeing what's called a descending broadening wedge, which still is a bullish formation. At the top of an uptrend, you don't often see it as much as what you do at the bottom of a downtrend, but certainly so. The formation here, in my opinion, is still bullish. And I think probably what I'm seeing, if we do break above if you were to look at the first touch on, I can't annotate on this one, but if you look at we look at the first touch within the diagonal lines, and we look at the very last touch before the breakout. So at the moment, that's about a 2.5% move from the top to the bottom there. From let me have a look. It was from 9436 down to sort of 9185. So if we were to have a bit of an impulse move up out of this supply here, I think we could look at it as sort of as high as 955 or 96 would kind of be a target if we do break out of this. And of course, if we can break sort of 9434. But if we do head back down again, then I'm probably looking for maybe 9.1 or 9K at this point for another bounce and continuation.
Yeah, I think you're right. The thing that I'm looking for right now with this supply is the fact that we haven't broken through like we have in previous ones, where we haven't
smashed through.
We wicked through the previous supply zones pretty early on in the first or the second candle on the 4 hour that we were into it. So we're kind of ranging sideways right now. And like I did mention in Discord earlier this morning, I think a pullback is necessary, but it's not expected. Honestly, with BTC, with BTC, it's a lot of hype and FOMO that pushes these way past where they should go.
100%. So, and this is exactly what the whales want. And if you look at our Wyckoff series that we did on accumulation and distribution, Richard Wyckoff talks about this composite man, which is looking at the market as if a single entity were moving it, and the single entity in this case is the multimillionaires, the major bag holders, and the whales, and this euphoria that people see in this FOMO retail buying that pushes some of these runs is exactly where they want us. They can move this market however they want. So a lot of people are very bullish at the moment. There is absolutely no surprise that would come if the rug was pulled from underneath us and we dropped pretty aggressively. But at this stage, I'm not too sure if I could see us. I think if we did head down aggressively, I think 8 or 8.9 would be my bottom target. But I think at this point, I think a little bit more sort of sideways to 9. Yeah, potentially that last sort of impulse push that we had there, that big daily candle, or that big 4-hour candle rather, would be maybe the next sort of zone if we did head down from here. But typically looking at flag formations and descending, descending broadening wedges at the top of a movement like that, if we do break through, then that's just another bullish sign. But yeah, definitely what you said about that supply not being eaten up as much as what we had beforehand is maybe cause to tighten up those stops just a little bit tighter.
Yeah, if you're long from, around the 8,000 mark or even lower if you were lucky, I would be
taking profit for starters.
Yeah, I would be pulling some stop losses up and seeing where we're at. Oh, sorry. There we go.
Up a daisy.
All right. So, whoops, my bad. Let me just tighten everything up. I think Discord's having a fit. Cool. So, moving on from that, Ty, where do you think we're going to end up in the next day? We still going to be ranging sideways, or are we going to be pushing up?
It's such a hard one. You've got to play both sides of the market, don't you? You've really got to be. Listen, I think if I were to, I think if I were a gambling man, which I'm not, but we are crypto traders, so I am a gambler in a sense. I think I'd be looking for probably 9.55, 9.6 in the immediate term, and then from there, I'd like to sort of take a breather and just sort of see what's going on. As we approach the weekends, and as we've seen pretty consistently in the last little bit, as we get to the weekends, we tend to have a little bit of fuckery, as they say, where the whales will liquidate some long or short positions. In the past, we've sort of, in the last few weeks, we tend to have had some long liquidations rather. So, it could be the same thing, but usually around weekends is my time off. But I can't help but looking at the screens a little bit more these last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think in the immediate term, if we can break this range here at 9.382, then I think 9.5 sort of 9.6 is my next target.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with that. If we can break through this and close above this broadening wedge, I think that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Cool. What else we want to have a look at, Ty? While we're on the charts, we want to have a look at ETH.
Yeah, I think let's have a look at that bad boy.
So, with this one here, we did chart it in our Discord chat on Tuesday night. This was actually posted a little while ago on the 21st of Jan, so it wasn't this Tuesday; it was the previous one, and that we were expecting some more some downage after this move got rejected on our Itchy cloud, coming back down to the 50, and that's where we're at. So that looks good, and that lines up with the slower moving average on Itchy.
Yeah.
So looking good on ETH. The 50 is going to be one target to buy off to continue this move upwards if we do get it on Ethereum and retest that supply again. So the 50, the 61 are both the two targets that we had in mind.
Yeah, 100%. It's a tricky one because if we draw our trend lines from back there on the 8th of January, we can. We do get another touch there on the 13th, and then we seem to have had another touch here sort of on the 30th. So we do seem to be respecting the trend to a degree and had a bounce off that 50. I guess on the daily, though, is where I'm kind of paying a little bit more attention. We look at our. Let me just clear some of my screen here so I can see what's going on. Yeah, we've got a bounce pretty much straight off that baseline, but our conversion line is still sort of pointing down. So I think we'll probably see a little bit of resistance there around sort of 19099 sats, I think is probably going to be where the next little bit of fight is going to go on. But yeah, definitely, if we can remain sort of in this channel and this upwards momentum, then I guess we'd be looking probably around 19.5 at the top of the cloud as a next bit. But looking on the daily too, one bit of sort of good bullish sentiment is our bullish Kumo twist there, which is nice to see as well. So yeah, so overall, I'm still watching this. The funding rate is still in the way of the longs. So yeah, interested. I don't often trade Ethereum, to be honest, but you can't help but pay attention to these things when you're seeing it right in front of you like that.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So let's watch this with interest. We've had pretty much a bounce off the bottom of the cloud, a bounce off baseline. Pretty short term bullish on Ethereum, at least for the short term.
Well, at least until we get, if we either break through or get rejected on that supply zone. So we've had a decent wick up, and that's blow off top, I like to call it, and a close pretty much at cloud resistance. So it'll take a little bit of a buying pressure to get through that zone again, which is about the 20,000 sat mark roundabout.
Yeah, for sure. So as we said, as you can sort of see, we've had this target drawn up for quite some time. So pretty happy to get there. But yeah, if this can't hold, then obviously the 61 is going to be the next level of support that we'd be looking for, and potentially that demand.
Yep. Perfect. Good
All right. Let's move on. What else have we been charting this week? I think EOS was another one that we had charted that. EOS is going for it now. So yeah, this is playing out pretty well. We saw this very similar structure on ADA before we had that big run up about a week or so ago, and it seems to be forming something sort of similar on EOS here. So I'm pretty happy with that. What have we done so far? We've done just over 6% in this last candle.
Let me find that EOS chart that we had from before. There it is. So that was one chart that we had. We had that wedge coming down, bouncing on the 38, and then back up to essentially 4548, or where supply is at the moment on that live chart.
Yeah.
And then that was it playing out, and that was it. And now look at it now. So we're coming back up to that supply. So that those arrows that Ty had drawn in, and that prediction is playing out to a T. The only thing that concerns me right now with the supply is that we've wicked in and then closed well below it. So third time's a charm. Hopefully we get through that and continue up to the 5,000 sat mark. So we'll see what happens. The 27 fib extension is that next target.
100%. Yeah, if we can break that 4638 sort of mark, then yeah, definitely looking at around 5,000 sats as the next target. I think with this push, I think we might see maybe one more, maybe a consolidation around the top of that resistance, or we could just blow straight through it. But you can kind of see there the level we're looking for is 4549, which I think we're going to get to very shortly. Take some profit of that and then see what happens afterwards.
Yep. EOS.
Happy with that. Thank you very much, EOS, because I got a little bit flogged on EOS a couple of weeks ago, so I'm glad to make it back.
Perfect. That's it's a win that we'll take. Easy. Always.
Hell yeah. All right, next one. What else have we been looking at? We've been looking at Link was another one that played out pretty well. We were talking about this on Tuesday night, and we were looking for a bounce off. I wish we had posted or took a screenshot of this chart on the Tuesday night. But what we were saying is that we were looking for a bounce off the 50 and the baseline there around 28.10, I think is what we were looking for. Or something very similar to that, and we pretty much got it. And since then, we've done Link seem to be pushing quite well. We're at just again over 6% in the last couple of days on that one. So all the indicators were there looking at it. We've still got our bullish TK cross, which is still in play.
Yeah.
And one thing that we have been talking about our members with is Ichi quite a fair bit, and what's called a C clamp, and that's a divergence between your base and your conversion line, which kind of had to be filled in our opinion in this case, and it certainly was. So we're edging now to sort of the top of cloud resistance. Our target was 30672. I dare say we'll potentially get there. If not, we'll probably knock it on the 23 fib line there. But yeah, all the signs were there. Bullish TK cross. We've got a bullish Kumo twist. And yeah, the signs were there, the volume was there, and we're sitting pretty on that one at 6% at the moment.
Absolutely, we are. So that looks like another one that played out very well.
Yeah, yeah,
The only gripe that I have with it is it didn't hit that baseline or the 50 fib to the T, so we just missed out.
exactly.
Just
Just
missed out. So if you had
yeah.
orders set on those levels, you would have just skimmed out, which is disappointing. But anyway,
Which we yeah don't often advocate. If the target is 28,771 in this case, 20 sort of 28,150 is where you'd want to put it, because that's
yeah,
that's what the guys are knowing. Other people who are trading that are looking at the exact same thing. So if it gets front run, you're going to miss out. So that's kind of why you would always set your buys just a little bit higher, or potentially just a little bit lower in some cases if there's less liquidity over your 50 your fibs rather, or your lines where you're looking to buy in.
and how good was
Just
Steamroller? How good was Steamroller on link there?
it literally caught the absolute bottom there on the 7th of Jan. And we've actually had some really good signs or signals from Steamroller as of late too on link. We look at the 17th of November. Had you have held that, sold out at the top and rebought at the bottom, you would have saved yourself a ton of sats. So yeah, on a lot of these alt pairs, Steamroller's really coming into its own. I'm absolutely loving that indicator.
Yeah, it's doing well, and it's I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just been fantastic across foreign exchange, across crypto
Forex
altcoins,
in particular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've even used it in some stock pairs that I've looked at, and it's been spot on. So
Yeah, I think with the addition of Steamroller and what we're teaching our guys, particularly, shout out Matt and Jack in the IC channels. I think we've got, I would dare say, our strongest group of traders I think we've ever had
yeah,
inside Inner Circle now, with what we've developed over probably the
yeah,
last 6 months or so. So
yeah,
proud of you guys. It's been absolutely incredible to witness.
absolutely it has.
Really, really good. All right, moving on. What else were we looking at? I think ONT was another one that we looked at, that we did just shy of 9% on in the last couple of days. Had a bit of a pullback now there. We had resistance just below the 23 fibs. We were looking at that bullish Kumo twist that hasn't really eventuated the way as what we want. So for the minute, even though we had a huge volume injection there in ONT on that single candle on the 29th, I'm probably a little bit cautious about looking at this continuing for the minute. So I'm probably happy with that percentage, and I think I would be out of this one, waiting for the next move, potentially off the 50 or off that trend.
Well, if I turn Ichimoku off for 1 second, I draw in the irrelevant supply. You've got that top there, which occurred on the 15th of Jan, and then we had a huge volume injection on the 29th of Jan, but we still didn't push anywhere near supply or even make a higher high. So this trend would possibly be coming down, making lower highs and continuing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, what I'm seeing, particularly on Twitter, not for our, but a lot of guys trying to chase alt pumps.
Yeah.
Don't try and continually chase these 20-30% alt pumps, because you're going to get burnt a lot of the time. So, there's a bit of time going through charts looking for setups like this, and you might see 9%, 6% or whatever it is, but that's not always the case. You've got to take a little bit of a risk at times with altcoins, particularly when BTC is doing the thing that it's doing and people are pulling out of alts to buy more Bitcoin. So you've got to be cautious, but certainly there's opportunity there to be made. And you can obviously find it if you want to come and join us inside the Inner Circle.
Perfect.
Excellent. And I just want to talk about one other thing very quickly. Go back to C. Ads is just going to bring up a chart of this W formation, this sort of double bottom formation that we had. So we're going to release an article in the next couple of days publicly for everyone, where we spoke about, let's go back a little while ago now, I think it's about a week or week and a half ago, where we were talking about this sort of W formation, this double bottom pattern, and where we were looking to take profit. We blasted straight through that. So again, this is some of the stuff that we share inside the Inner Circle, and of course it doesn't always play out like this. We're not always right. We're very fortunate as of late to have been making some good trades, and we'll admit out when we're absolutely. But so this is some of the stuff that we teach inside Inner Circle. So if you're interested, you're very welcome to come over and have a little bit of a scan with us, and check out the markets and come and have some fun. Yeah. But Ads, are there any other coins that we want to have a look at? Maybe we can have a look at just one other major, maybe XRP.
Yeah, we can have a look at XRP.
At the moment, maybe LTC as well. and then we'll call it a night and get back to trading with our guys.
LTC, we'll have a look at that first. That was another one that we charted up. I don't think it was. We had a look at it this week, but we really charted it up last week and seeing which direction it was going to go in. Well, we got rejected at supply, and then this demand was our next target for an entry in the baseline. Also lined up with that. So moving up, we're smashing through the conversion line now, and hopefully we close and continue back up to that supply. So that looks okay as well for a continuation tie on LTC.
Yep. Excellent. And XRP, last one. Let's have a quick squiz.
XRP on BTC. So XRP on BTC, looking like it's continuing that falling wedge and just about to break through that demand level down the bottom at 2,500 sats. So not looking fantastic. We did have some looks and see where this could end up in terms of if we turn bullish out of this wedge, but obviously not playing out the way that we'd liked. We're always pretty cautious for something like this. We're waiting for potentially some respected candles off this demand, like we did have here to the left on the 12th, 10th of Jan. So not seeing that on XRP right now. So looking for possibly some targets below, Ty.
Yeah, XRP a little disappointing as of late. Admittedly, I've stayed out of trading that one because I've had a couple of good wins, but I've had more losses than XRP. It just does not seem to agree with me at a lot of times. So
that's fair enough. So just stick to what you know.
Staying out of XRP. All right, so that's us for another week, guys. If you want to share this or make comments and share this with people that might want to see it, we encourage you to come and join us every Thursday. We'll continue doing this for as long as we live. So look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday, and trade safe, keep those stops tight, and don't get too in your head is the message for this week. If you missed it, you missed it. There's always another trade. Don't sweat it.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
See you later, guys. Good night.